That one right there made me the greatest player of all time.
For so many reasons.
That's what LeBron James said after leading the Cavaliers to a 3-1 comeback against the 73-win Warriors in the 2016 finals. Since then, LeBron hasn't just chased greatness, he's declared it. In 2013, he said it plainly. I want to be the greatest of all time. After breaking Kareem's all-time scoring record, he doubled down, telling Shaq on live TV,
me personally, I'm gonna take myself. I'm gonna take myself against anybody that's ever played this game. But everyone's gonna have their favorite. Everyone's gonna, decide who their favorite is. But I know what I've brought to the table. I know what I bring to the table every single night, and what I can do out on this floor. So, I always feel like I'm the best to ever play this game.
His wife Savannah calls him the GOAT.
The king. And yes, the GOAT.
His agent, Rich Paul, pushes the narrative, claiming it's not about rings but longevity. Even in casual moments like a backyard shootout with his son, LeBron grins and says,
I'm the GOAT, bro. G-O-A-T.
But here's the problem. Beneath the accolades and the mind-boggling stats lies a collapse so brutal, so un-GOAT-like, that no quote, no highlight reel, and no PR campaign can erase it. In 2010, LeBron promised a dynasty.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. Hey, and when I say that, I really believe it.
After years of playoff heartbreak from the Spurs, the Celtics, and Dwight Howard's Magic, he left Cleveland to join forces with a prime Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami. He believed he wouldn't just win one title, but a string of them. Maybe even a dynasty to rival the Celtics of the 1960s. In his mind, forming a super team felt like a shortcut to immortality. But in 2011, when the moment finally arrived against an aging Mavericks team led by one superstar and a group of overlooked veterans, LeBron James disappeared. This wasn't just a loss. It was the series that shattered his case to ever be called the greatest of all time. And I didn't just watch the highlights. I watched the actual games, particularly the last 3 games, after Miami took a 2-1 lead and was poised to take control. I followed the storylines, the pre-series predictions, the sky-high expectations. I saw the mockery, a moment that may have added fuel to the fire when LeBron and D-Wade pretended to cough before Game 6, seemingly mocking Dirk Nowitzki for the illness he had battled the night before. Virtually every expert picked Miami to win. The Heat were the juggernaut. The Mavericks, just another stepping stone. But every detail, every slight, every assumption contributed to what became one of the most stunning upsets in NBA history. Let's go back to the series that changed everything. To understand 2011, you have to start with the moment that changed everything. The decision.
Not 5, not 6, not 7.
In the summer of 2010, after back-to-back playoff failures in Cleveland, LeBron James shocked the sports world by announcing live on national television,
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
The fallout was immediate. Overnight, he went from hometown hero to the NBA's biggest villain. Cleveland fans felt blindsided. Even his own teammates reportedly found out at the same time as the rest of the world, watching The Decision on TV just like everyone else. There were no goodbyes, no warning, just a cold, calculated departure. The betrayal cut deep. Fans burned his jersey in the streets. Some threw rocks at the 10-story Nike billboard that had become a landmark in downtown Cleveland. Local businesses pulled LeBron merchandise from their shelves. Dan Gilbert, the Cavaliers' owner, released an open letter calling the decision cowardly, narcissistic, and a shameful display of selfishness. Critics across the country accused LeBron of running from the grind, and yet, the expectations? Sky high. He wasn't just joining any team, he was teaming up with a prime Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, forming what many considered a cheat code-level super team. Dwayne Wade, widely viewed as the second-best shooting guard behind Kobe, and Chris Bosh, a top 5 power forward and arguably a top 10 player overall. In fact, ESPN ranked all 3 among the top 5 players heading into that season. Then came the rally. The lights, the smoke, and the infamous moment that would haunt him.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
LeBron didn't just hype up the fans. He painted a bullseye on his back. Dwayne Wade, reflecting on that moment years later in an interview with Shannon Sharpe, admitted it wasn't serious.
You know what I mean? We jacket. We do what we do. We in the crib with our homies. You know how you put a little sauce on your story?
But no one was laughing.
Yeah, that's not funny.
The bravado during that Heat introduction dialed the pressure up to 10. Anything short of a championship and sheer dominance would now be seen as failure. Never before had we seen a player, not even legends like Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, or Kobe Bryant, step onto a stage and promise 8 straight titles, serious or not.
Not 5, not 6, not 7.
It wasn't just bold, it was unprecedented. In a league built on proving yourself in June, LeBron had already crowned himself in July. The media, the fans, the league, they weren't just watching. They were waiting.
We're waiting.
Waiting to see if this king could deliver when the pressure wasn't just about winning, but about validating the crown he'd already claimed. The 2010-11 Heat were built to win immediately. Anything less than a ring would be unacceptable, and the world was watching. Their first game, LeBron's Miami debut, became the most-watched regular season game in cable history. But the season didn't start like a dynasty. They lost the opener and stumbled to a 9-8 start, plagued by inconsistent play and injuries to key role players like Mike Miller and Udonis Haslem. Tensions rose quickly. There were whispers that Eric Spoelstra's job was on the line. LeBron even bumped into Spoelstra during a timeout, a moment caught on national TV and scrutinized for days. Rumors swirled that Pat Riley might come down from the front office and retake the bench. Then came a players-only meeting. Whatever was said behind closed doors worked. The Heat rattled off a 12-game win streak and became one of the best defensive teams in the league. Then came December 2nd, 2010, the most hostile regular season game of LeBron's career. His first game back in Cleveland. The crowd inside Quicken Loans Arena was seething.
We're gonna see it tonight on TN.
Fans held signs that read "Quitness," "Traitor," and "Who needs LeBron?" Security was a major concern. Even the police were involved. The atmosphere wasn't just intense, it was more intense than most playoff games. From the moment LeBron stepped on the court, the boos rained down. Fans hurled profanities, chants of "Akron hates you" and "Scottie Pippen" echoed through the arena. It got so bad that a fan threw a battery at LeBron. Security was so tight, drinks were served in paper cups to prevent anything from becoming a projectile.
Incidentally, beverages are being served only in paper cups.
And how did LeBron respond? He dropped 38 points, including 24 in the third quarter, tying a Heat franchise record. He smiled, he danced, he silenced the crowd with a 118-90 blowout win. Eric Spoelstra later called it the most venomous atmosphere I've ever seen. That night, LeBron embraced the villain role, and for a moment, he looked unstoppable. From there, Miami found its rhythm. They set a franchise record for most wins in December. They beat the defending champion Lakers on Christmas Day. And all 3 stars, LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, were named All-Stars, a franchise first. But cracks remained. They lost the season series to the Celtics, got swept by Derrick Rose's Bulls, and lost both regular season matchups to the Mavericks, who had now beaten Miami 16 straight times. In tight games, the Heat struggled, finishing just 5-13 in games decided by 5 points or fewer. In March alone, they blew a 24-point lead to Orlando, lost by 30 to the Spurs, and fell to the Bulls after both LeBron and Wade missed potential game winners. One report even said players were crying in the locker room. Still, they pulled it together. 58-24 record, second seed in the East behind the Chicago Bulls. And a playoff run that, at first, felt like a march to destiny. They beat the 76ers in 5, took down the Celtics in 5, including a clutch comeback win at home. then knocked off the league best Bulls in 5, capped by an 18-3 run to close out Game 5. LeBron looked like the king again, making big plays, locking up MVP Derrick Rose, and leading clutch comebacks. But just when it seemed like his moment had finally arrived, the 2011 finals began. While Miami was making headlines and promises, another team was quietly building a championship run without the glitz, without the hype, and without the belief of the national media. The 2010-11 Dallas Mavericks entered the season as an afterthought, and for good reason. They had been bounced in the first round in 3 of the previous 4 seasons, including a humiliating upset by the We Believe Warriors in 2007. They didn't have a big 3 or a highlight machine. What they had was a battle-tested roster, a brilliant coach, and a 32-year-old superstar with something to prove. This wasn't just any team. This was Dirk Nowitzki's redemption tour. Dallas had been one of the most consistent regular season teams of the 2000s, but had nothing to show for it. Ever since blowing a 2-0 lead in the 2006 NBA Finals, Dirk had been labeled soft, a regular season player, not clutch, not a killer. Despite repeated playoff disappointments, Dirk re-signed with Dallas during free agency, choosing loyalty over chasing a super team. And in 2011, the pieces finally clicked. Tyson Chandler, acquired from Charlotte, transformed their defense overnight. Jason Kidd, the veteran point guard and future Hall of Famer, ran the offense with precision. Sean Marion took on the toughest defensive assignments nightly. Jason Terry, fearless and still fuming from 2006, provided scoring off the bench and leadership in the locker room. And J.J. Barea, the 5'10 blur from Puerto Rico, would go on to torment Miami in the finals. They finished 57-25, just 1 game behind the Heat, but you wouldn't know it from the media coverage. Dirk averaged 23-7, not eye-popping at first glance until you looked at the shooting splits. 51% from the field, 39% from 3, 89% from the line. Chandler anchored the paint. Their ball movement was crisp, their pick-and-roll game lethal. They were tied with Miami with the best road record in the league. And in the Western Conference playoffs, they didn't just beat teams. They dismantled them. They swept the 2-time defending champion Lakers, including a 36-point demolition in Game 4 that sent the champs packing and ended the Kobe-Phil dynasty in a blaze of ejections and embarrassment. Still, nobody believed in them. Even after beating the defending champs and taking down the young, hungry Thunder with Durant, Harden, and Westbrook, all the buzz surrounded the Bulls and the Heat. But Dallas, they just kept punching above their weight. They weren't just playing for a title, they were playing for respect. Dirk wanted to erase the stain of 2006. Kidd, at 38, was chasing his first ring. Terry had literally tattooed the Larry O'Brien trophy on his arm before the season, betting on himself and his team.
I'm gonna get a tattoo of the trophy right now to show you what I mean. Man, you crazy, Jet.
Carlisle, he was out coaching legends. Every series. And when it came to Miami, they weren't scared. They had already beaten the Heat twice in the regular season, extending a win streak that stretched back to 2004-05. They weren't afraid of the highlights or the hype. They were deeper, smarter, and hungrier. The stage was set. On one side, the Miami Heat, the NBA's newly crowned villains, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, a super team built for domination, expected to win immediately. On the other, the Dallas Mavericks, a team of veterans, cast-offs, and a 32-year-old Dirk Nowitzki looking for redemption. It wasn't supposed to be a fair fight. The experts weren't just leaning toward Miami, they were nearly unanimous. In ESPN's True Hoop Stat Geek Smackdown, 6 of 8 analytics experts picked the Heat. In broader predictions, 15 out of 22 ESPN analysts said Miami would win the series. Vegas agreed, with the Heat listed as clear -180 favorites. The narrative? LeBron had figured it out. Dirk could never carry a team past Wade and LeBron. This was the start of a dynasty. The 2011 finals weren't just about a championship. They were supposed to be a coronation. And in Game 1, it looked exactly like that. The series opened in Miami and the Heat came out locked in. They closed the game strong, clamping down defensively and out-executing Dallas in crunch time. LeBron James set the tone early with a strong all-around performance. 24 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists, including a late and one to seal the win. Dwayne Wade was electric down the stretch. In one critical stretch, he blocked Sean Marion, hit a three the next possession, grabbed a rebound, and assisted Chris Bosh for a fast-break dunk. On the other side, Dirk Nowitzki finished with 27 points, but tore a tendon in his left middle finger. The injury went mostly unnoticed at the time.
Uncertainty surrounding their superstar. Dirk had torn a tendon in his finger in Game 1.
The Mavericks shot just 37% from the field, struggled to generate clean looks, and looked overwhelmed by Miami's length and athleticism.
Game 2 was Miami's chance to take full control. With 6:27 left in the fourth, the Heat led by 15. It looked like the avalanche was coming, but Dallas didn't fold. They stormed back, going on a 17-2 run to tie the game with under a minute left. After Dirk and Mario Chalmers traded clutch threes, the game was tied at 93.
Can they finish off this extraordinary comeback? Chalmers wide open. Oh!
Dallas had the ball with 24.5 seconds remaining. Dirk got at the top of the key. This time it wasn't Udonis Haslem guarding him. It was Chris Bosh. Dirk drove right, spun left, and softly banked in the game winner with his left hand.
On this possession.
7 to shoot. Nowitzki drives underneath lefty layup, banks it in.
The Mavericks stole Game 2. Just like that, the series was tied heading back to Dallas. Game 3 began with Miami playing like a team determined to take back control. Their defense smothered Dallas early, building multiple double-digit leads. But the Mavericks clawed back again. The fourth quarter turned into a heavyweight slugfest, Dirk and Wade trading buckets in a tense back and forth. In the end, Miami survived. Chris Bosh hit the game winner from the left baseline, and Dirk turned it over before missing a potential game-tying jumper over Haslem.
Nowitzki, Haslem on him. Nowitzki spins, head fake, falling away. Shot won't go, and Miami holds on and takes Game 3.
Miami led the series 2-1, but the cracks were starting to show.
LeBron James, through 3 games, was averaging just over 20 points per game, but had scored a combined 9 points in the fourth quarters. The most scrutinized player in the league was quietly shrinking. Meanwhile, Dirk Nowitzki was holding the Mavericks together, despite playing with a torn tendon in his finger. Then came the twist before Game 4. Dirk had a 101-degree fever.
Dirk sick. Huh? Sick? What do you got? They were like, we got the flu. Oh, I said, oh, no.
Suddenly, this wasn't just the finals. This was Dirk's flu game. Could he save Dallas from a 3-1 hole? Could LeBron rise in the clutch? Could Spoelstra adjust to Carlisle's masterclass? The stakes were set. A Dallas win would tie the series. A Miami win would all but seal a title. Dirk started Game 4 strong, hitting 3 early jumpers, but the flu caught up. He looked gassed, dragging up and down the floor. Still, Miami couldn't close. Up 9 early in the fourth, with Dirk shooting just 4 for 14, it should have been enough. But Dallas locked in. Their zone defense stifled Miami, and Dirk, despite being sick, rose again, scoring 10 of his 21 in the fourth quarter. The Mavs closed the game on a 17-5 run. Final score, Dallas 86, Miami 83. The series was tied, and all eyes turned to LeBron James.
Game 5 became all about him. After scoring just 8 points in Game 4, the worst playoff performance of his career, the backlash was fierce. Where's the king? Is he scared of the moment? The chosen one, or the frozen one? Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, Twitter, ESPN. LeBron had become the story, not for what he was doing, but for what he wasn't. While LeBron faded, Dwayne Wade continued to carry Miami, averaging nearly 30 points per game through 4 games. Fans and analysts alike wondered, is this Wade's team again? Game 5 wasn't just pivotal. It was a referendum on LeBron's leadership, on Wade's dominance, on Dirk's legacy, on Miami's legitimacy as a super team. And Dallas seized it. They came out firing. Wade injured his hip again early, but Miami rallied. LeBron posted a triple-double, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. But the problems persisted. His jumper failed him. He was passive during key moments. He stood outside the arc watching Wade go ISO, even with 38-year-old Jason Kidd guarding him. The Mavericks closed the game on a 12-3 run. Dirk led with 29. J.J. Barea, who had struggled all series, exploded with 17 on 4 of 5 from deep. Final: Dallas 112, Miami 103. Mavs led the series 3-2. But before Game 6 even tipped off, they made it worse. At shoot-around, cameras caught Wade and LeBron mocking Dirk's illness, fake coughing, joking about whether he was faking.
This weather, man.
Weather is crazy.
It's hard to go from 85-degree weather and then go to...
They are suggesting to me that Dirk was maybe faking or at least exaggerating his sinus infection.
It rubbed everyone the wrong way. Dirk didn't respond. He didn't have to. Rick Carlisle called it classless. Jason Terry said it gave them even more motivation. Carlisle, meanwhile, was coaching circles around Eric Spoelstra, throwing out zone defenses, inserting Barea, and turning Dallas into a machine. Game 6 was legacy time. The Mavericks, once mocked for choking in 2006, were one win away from redemption. Dirk Nowitzki, after 5 years of heartbreak, was a game away from rewriting his story. The Heat, in free fall. LeBron was averaging just 17.2 points per game, with only 11 total fourth-quarter points through 5 games. The media was brutal.
I give LeBron James 99% of the blame because this time Dwayne Wade did bang up his hip. And he was able to play only 34 minutes. And Dwayne Wade did hit the huge three with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left and handed a 4-point lead to LeBron James. This was his turn and his time to live up to being a back-to-back MVP and the most talented player this game has ever seen. And this time, he wasn't even LeBron James. He was Alfred James.
And now Wade was banged up too. All the weight fell on LeBron's shoulders. Game 6 started with promise. LeBron knocked down 2 early jumpers. Miami built a 9-point lead. Wade played through pain, slashing to the rim like it was 2006. But Dallas responded. Jason Terry ignited the bench, hitting jumper after jumper. LeBron committed careless turnovers. And while Eddie House hit a buzzer-beating 3 to stop the bleeding, the tide had shifted. During a key Dallas run, LeBron was on the floor. The lead ballooned to 12. Spoelstra called timeout, took LeBron out, and Miami made a run. The numbers told the story. LeBron had a negative 24 plus-minus, the worst of any Heat starter. Dallas extended a 2-point halftime lead to 9 entering the fourth, capped by Ian Mahinmi's buzzer beater. Miami couldn't hit free throws. They missed nearly half their attempts, leaving points on the table. But still, they had opportunities. They cut the lead to 3, but Dirk and Terry responded with clutch shots. Tyson Chandler took advantage of Miami's small lineup by giving Dallas second-chance opportunities. Final score, Dallas 105, Miami 95. Dallas did the unthinkable. No big three, no hype, just discipline, defense, and redemption. Dirk Nowitzki, 5 years after one of the most painful losses in finals history, completed one of the greatest redemption arcs the league has ever seen. He wasn't loud, he didn't demand respect, but he left Miami a champion and the greatest European-born player in NBA history. While the Mavericks were celebrating, the rest of the basketball world stood in disbelief. LeBron James, the most gifted player of his generation, a global icon, the self-declared chosen one, collapsed on the biggest stage of his career. Let's look at the numbers. 17.8 points per game, nearly 7 below his playoff average. Only 8 total shots in the fourth quarter across 6 games. And in Game 4, just 8 points, a career playoff low. This wasn't just a bad series, it was a vanishing act. And what made it worse? LeBron had told the world what was coming.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
The promise of a dynasty, the expectation of dominance. But when the lights were brightest, the king disappeared. And if this team really was that good, 3 All-Stars, title favorites, unbeatable on paper, how did they lose to a team led by a 32-year-old superstar everyone thought was past his prime? And the media? They pounced. The chosen one became the frozen one.
You live and you die by the MJ sword. And once Scottie Pippen went public with LeBron James is on his way to becoming better than Michael Jordan, and once LeBron didn't exactly shoot it down, said he was honored by that, well, now you're in for it, because the whole world, unfairly to me and laughably, is going to expect you to be Michael Jordan come NBA Finals time, when Michael went 6 for 6 in MVPs in the finals.
National headlines weren't just criticizing LeBron's performance, they were questioning his character. Words like passive, timid, unwilling to lead echoed across ESPN, Sports Illustrated, and every post-game panel. This wasn't just about basketball. It was about mentality. Was LeBron still the best player in the world? Or was he not built for the moment? And it wasn't just the media. The legends weighed in. Charles Barkley. "You think it's that easy, huh?" Barkley said. "Look where your ass at right now. You at the bottom of the barrel again, just like everybody else." Magic Johnson. "Everybody's always asking, who is better between Kobe Bryant and LeBron? I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, you're kidding me. Kobe 5 championships, LeBron 0. And then there was Scottie Pippen, the same man who said LeBron might be better than Jordan.
And when you look across the board, not just scoring, check his assists, check his rebounds, he's probably ahead of Jordan.
He walked it back.
Michael Jordan is the greatest player to ever put on shoes and play in our game. No doubt about it. And there's no game that I would ever play in and pick LeBron James over Michael Jordan.
No game.
Even inside the Heat locker room, you could feel it. Nobody called him out publicly, except Dwayne Wade. With 3 minutes left in Game 3, Wade snapped, tearing into LeBron on the sideline in a moment of raw frustration. But you didn't need words to know something was off. You could see it in the huddles, in the glances, in the weight Wade carried on his shoulders. Wade was closing games. Haslam was trying to keep LeBron engaged. Coaches were frustrated, but afraid to press too hard. The body language told the truth. They needed LeBron to lead, and he deferred.
The man who called himself King James looked like a prince in waiting, a passenger in his own kingdom. He wore the crown, but in 2011, he wasn't ready to earn it. For years, LeBron was untouchable, but after the finals, the narrative changed. The most talented player in the world was mentally fragile when it mattered most. The moment was too big, the lights too bright, the expectations too heavy. He wasn't the GOAT. He wasn't clutch. He looked scared. And across the court, Dirk Nowitzki, battling a 101-degree fever, played through pain, quiet, relentless, no theatrics, no excuses, just buckets.
LeBron James is nowhere to be found, while Dirk Nowitzki finally arrives, said Bill Simmons.
In the end, the series didn't just crown a champion. It exposed the truth. LeBron James had the talent to be the greatest of all time. But in 2011, he wasn't ready for the throne.
So why does the series matter? Why do people still talk about the 2011 finals when LeBron has 4 rings, multiple MVPs, and arguably the greatest statistical resume in NBA history? Because this wasn't just a loss. It was a moment that shattered the myth, a moment that cracked the crown. Michael Jordan never had a finals this bad, especially not in his prime. Every time MJ reached the finals, he showed up. Every time the lights got bright, he got brighter. Even when ESPN tried to shift the narrative, pointing out that Michael Jordan passed to John Paxson repeatedly during his first NBA championship and never got criticized for it, the comparison fell flat. Why? Because Jordan never had an 8-point game in the finals. He didn't go passive. He didn't hot potato the ball or shy away from the moment. When his team needed him, he attacked relentlessly. In that 1991 series, Jordan averaged over 31 points and 11 assists, a masterclass that showcased not just his scoring, but his underrated playmaking ability. He did what his team needed to win: score, pass, rebound, or defend. That's what GOATs do. They rise in the moment. LeBron? He vanished. This wasn't just a rough series, it was the worst finals performance ever by a superstar of his caliber. A supposed top 2 player of all time, scoring 8 points in a must-win finals game. You can't erase that. No ring, no redemption arc, no carefully edited highlight reel will ever undo what happened in June 2011. Because GOAT debates aren't just about how much you win. They're about how you lose. What you do when everything's on the line. And in 2011, LeBron didn't just lose, he disappeared. This series left a scar, an emotional stain on LeBron's legacy that still lingers. Yes, he came back stronger in 2012. Yes, 2016 was legendary. But the shadow of 2011, it never really left.
So here's the question, the one that still lingers more than a decade later. Can you be the GOAT after 2011? Can you call yourself the greatest of all time after disappearing in the finals? Michael Jordan never had a moment like this. He never froze, never disappeared, never averaged under 20 in a series, let alone 18. Kobe Bryant? He might have gone down shooting, well, except for that 2006 series, where he refused to shoot in the second half. But he never shrank from the moment ever again, not in his prime, not on that stage. So ask yourself, if LeBron James is the GOAT, what do we do with 2011? Do we erase it? Do we pretend it didn't happen? Or do we hold him to the same standard we hold Jordan, Kobe, Magic, Bird? Do we weigh greatness not just by rings and numbers, but by how you respond when the world expects you to be everything? Because in 2011, LeBron James wasn't just outplayed, he was exposed. And no matter what came after, no matter how many comebacks or titles or records, that scar never fully healed. Can you be the GOAT after 2011? You decide.